So, hey guys, what's up? What's up? This is Larry Holsey. This is, of course, the Larry Holsey podcast. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today. We're going to be talking about having a positive mental attitude. Okay. And this is freaking awesome. I'm gonna share this in a way that you have probably never heard in this way. Okay, there's going to be some new things for you here. I'm excited to teach it, and I was just studying my notes from Napoleon Hill. Of course, on our podcast, we've been talking about the 17 principles of success as laid out by Napoleon Hill, who is the major personal development guy, the guy that wrote the Think and Grow Rich, which is such an amazing book. If you haven't read it, what he did is over a course of 20 years, he actually met a guy named Andrew Carnegie, who was I believe he was the richest man in the world at the time, okay? If not the richest, one of the richest. And he gave him letters of introduction to meet all of these, the 500 richest men in the world, okay? And he wanted him to create a manual on what did it take for all of these guys to be successful, okay? What did it take for them to win at a very, very high level, okay? This would be like taking the top 500 billionaires of today. He interviewed them. He took 20 years. He went through all of their habits, mental habits, physical habits, mindsets, everything about them. And over this 20-year period, he condensed it to this book called Think and Grow Rich. And that book is what he put out, and he put out other works as well, and he's a phenomenal guy, so I'd highly recommend studying his works, starting with Think and Grow Rich, okay? But this particular work is fantastic, and I've used this in my life to experience what some would say is great success, okay? And, always want more, always want better, always want to push the limits and see how high we can take this thing. Okay, do I have chocolate on my face? I just ate a protein bar. Okay. And I thought I had some chocolate on my face. But I'm like, how did it get all the way over there? Oh my gosh. All right. Well, listen, hey, I had to have my Achieve bar and cookie dough flavor. Like, holy moly, it's so good. All right. So, hey, what's up, Owen? Thanks for joining. So here we go. So I'm just going to jump right in. So as we look at our lives, okay, so let's look at your life and let's think about you as whenever you were first conceived, okay, at the moment of conception in your mom's belly, and you weren't even in the belly yet probably. I don't even know exactly where that happens, but we're not going to get too technical here. But when you were conceived, at that moment that light of life entered you, okay, think of it as that there were two envelopes created for your life. Okay, and I've got those two envelopes here, okay? And you've got one envelope that's called rewards, okay? It's called rewards. And this is the envelope that's filled with all the rewards that you're going to get for taking control of your mind, your God-given mind, and using it for a definite major purpose, okay? Using it for good, using it for to achieve a definite end, okay? And to do great things, okay? This is full of rewards. I'm going to go through what's in the rewards envelope, okay, with you. But there was another envelope created at your moment of conception, okay? And that is the penalties, okay? This is the envelope that's full of penalties. Penalties for not using your God-given dominion, okay? That God gave you this earth to take dominion over. In other words, to take control over and to bend it to your will, all right? And some men and women have done a great job with that. Most have an envelope full of penalties. This is the envelope that they're operating with in their life because they didn't use what God gave them. They didn't use their mental faculties to demand success from life. And I mean success in every area. I'm not just talking about in finances, although that's a part of success because it's a big part, all right? But there's also family success, relationship success, success with your kids, success in your any other endeavors that you get into, success with. There's a lot of ways to succeed, but I'd say that, financial. I mean, if you're broke as a joke, it really does affect all the other areas of your life negatively. Okay, so again, we have rewards, we have penalties. Okay, so we're going to talk about what's in each of these envelopes. Okay, so here we go. So let's jump in. So if you look at nature, okay, and again, we're teaching out of the 17 principles from Napoleon Hill. If we look at nature, nature discourages and penalizes two things, okay? A vacuum, okay, and you guys may have heard, nature abhors a vacuum, right? That was like in biology class or something. So it always is going to fill a vacuum with something. And number two, it discourages and severely penalizes idleness. Okay, so a vacuum. So think of your mind being empty of any clear objective. If your mind is void of any clear objective, that's a vacuum. And when you have a vacuum, it's going to be filled with something. Okay, and nature discourages and severely penalizes this, a vacuum and idleness, which are very similar. Okay, because you have a vacuum here. You don't have any definite major purpose. You don't have any plans. It's going to be filled with something. And what it's going to be filled with is negativity and penalties. You're going to be, if you got nothing in there, this is the envelope you're working with. The penalties envelope. What's up, Bobby? What's up, Nikki? What's up, Authentically Augie? Thanks for jumping on. For those of you guys on the podcast here, I've got my Instagram live going over here. So I'm just going to say hi to these guys as I see them come on. So if I see them come on. So let's jump into, okay, so I'm just going to read a couple of the things out of Napoleon Hill's manuscript here. So he said, you either use your brain for controlled thinking in connection with things you want, or nature steps in and uses it to grow you a marvelous crop of negative circumstances you do not want. Hold on. Let me have some tea here. Let that simmer for a sec. So it says again, you either use your brain for controlled thinking in connection with things you want, or nature steps in and uses it to grow you a marvelous crop of negative circumstances you do not want. Wow. So you have a choice in this connection. You can take possession of your thought power, or you can let it be influenced by all the stray winds of chance and circumstances you do not desire. Okay, so you can either make your mind dwell on positive thinking, and we're going to be talking about positive mental attitude today, right? Or you can let it drift to negative thinking, okay? And if you don't put it in gear, if you don't put your mind in gear to think positively and make that decision that I'm going to think positively no matter what, you're going to drift to negative thinking, and that negative thinking is going to get you this envelope. Penalties. That's all you're going to be getting is penalties in your life for not having, not directing your mind. Okay. All right. What's up, Tiffany? What's up, Snap Leduc? How's it going? Thanks for joining us. All right. So, and if you guys have any comments or questions, I see Nikki said, hey, thank you. If you guys have anything over here, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat over here and we can interact a little bit. So, all right. So, here's this. Here's a great truth, and you want to remember this. Success attracts more success, while failure attracts more failure. So you want to get in the succeeding line, okay? Because you don't want to attract more failure. Okay, so here we go. Nature allows you to fix your mind on whatever you desire and create your own plan for attaining it. Then supports those efforts with the benefits that come to you in this sealed envelope labeled riches you may have in return for taking possession of your own mind and directing it to ends of your own choosing. Okay, that's what's in this envelope. The richness of life. Again, whether that be financial, personal, relational, all the different areas that you could be having those. Okay, so, all right, so here we go. So let's talk about what's in the rewards envelope. Okay, in the rewards envelope, we've got sound health, both physically and mentally, financial independence, a labor of love in which to express yourself, peace of mind, applied faith, which makes fear impossible. Applied faith, that means acting on your faith. That means not just, oh, I've got faith. No, it's like your faith shows up in your work. Your faith shows up in your actions. And if it doesn't, then that faith is dead. In James it says faith without works is dead. And, that's fact. So Napoleon Hill just puts it as applied faith, maybe to make it a little more applicable. If you don't apply it, then it's not really faith. Okay? So enduring friendships, these are rewards. Enduring friendships, longevity in a well-balanced life, immunity against all forms of self-limitation, and the wisdom with which to understand yourself and others. This is in the rewards envelope here. Okay? All right. So next we look at penalties. Okay? Penalties. The penalty box. Okay? Here's what you get in the penalty box. Poverty and misery all your life. Mental and physical ailments of many kinds. Self-limitations which bind you to mediocrity all the days of your life. Fear in all its destructive forms. Dislike of the occupation by which you earn a living. Many enemies, few friends. Every brand of worry known to mankind. Ugh, sounds terrible. A victim of every negative influence you encounter. Subject to the influence and control of other people at their will. A wasted life which gives nothing to the betterment of mankind. Whew. This is terrible. You must embrace and use the one or have the other forced upon you. There is no halfway point, no means of compromise. You are on trial as a citizen of life. Wow. So you guys you have your choice. You don't get to go halfway. Rewards or penalties. Okay, you choose. All right. So let's talk about the positive mental attitude. Okay. So a positive mental attitude is the only condition of the mind in which we can gain the wisdom with which to recognize the true purpose of life and adapt ourselves to that purpose. So in our lives, okay, I was thankfully my dad was very instrumental in teaching me to keep a positive mental attitude. All right. So he always told me that I could do whatever I wanted. He always told me I could be whatever I wanted. And he always had a positive mental attitude. He displayed a positive mental attitude, and he had me read books about having a positive mental attitude. I remember as a kid, maybe I was 10 or 11, he had me read The Magic of Thinking Big. He had me read How to Win Friends and Influence People. There was a lot of influence my dad had on me having that positive mental attitude. And then when I got into business for myself at the age of 18, I was exposed to, Mark Hughes, the founder of our company, who was a phenomenal man, larger than life, like, oh my gosh, so awesome, and Jim Rohn. And those two influences in my life greatly affected how I would, because I started working with this in this business when I was 18 years old. And so it gave me a great foundation as I grew up from 18 into, young manhood into real manhood. I thought I was a man already when I was 18, but you know how that is, right? So as I grew up into a more mature man, and to, my early 20s, my mid 20s, it really shaped me into having this positive mental attitude at all costs. Okay. And speaking positively, no matter what, making sure that my mouth was lined up with positivity, even if my mind was going negative, making sure I was always speaking positive words and about the future and about where we were going to be going. So one thing about our founder of our company, he would always say that, or what people would always say about him that knew him very well would say he was either up or going up. So he was either up, he was excited, or he was going up. And it was always movement towards the future, toward the better, toward the improvement. And that's how I want to be. All right, so let's see here. Okay, let me just read you this. So You can recognize and prove to your own satisfaction the truth that every adversity, every failure, every defeat, every sorrow, and every unpleasant circumstance of your own making or otherwise carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit which may be transmuted into a blessing of great proportions. Here's what that means. That means that every negative thing that's ever happened to you, whether you brought it on yourself or not, which let's face it, most of it you brought it on yourself. Most of the bad things in my life, I brought it on myself. Okay? I created those things. But even if it's something that you didn't create or you didn't cause, then you are you want to be thankful for those and realize that they all hold the seed of a greater thing in your life. Okay, so and your attitude towards those negative things really does make a big difference on how you're able to move forward. Okay, all right. So he says here, you can learn to close the door behind you on all the failures and unpleasant circumstances you may have experienced in the past. You can determine how much material things you require or acquire. You can form the habit of daily saying or doing something which will make another person or persons feel better. You can find out what you like best to do. You can communicate with anyone whom you know you have unjustly offended by word or deed, and offer adequate apologies and ask forgiveness. This is when you have that positive mental attitude. You can recognize that the space you occupy in this world is an exact ratio to the quality and quantity of the service you render. Okay, so we talked about going the extra mile in a previous class. So where you're at is based on how much value you've brought to the marketplace. If you haven't brought much value, you haven't got a very high place in the world. Okay, so he says if you have objectionable habits, such as smoking or drinking intoxicating beverages, which you desire to break, you can show yourself who's boss by abstaining from the habit for 1 month. Wow. Okay, there you go. So if you are someone who's doing these things and you want to quit, show it who's boss, man. Don't let any thing hold you hostage. Okay, so you don't want to let it, whether it be alcohol or smoking or doing drugs or anything like that, which I don't recommend doing drugs ever, but if you or smoking, maybe the occasional drink from time to time, but if you are controlled by the drinking, if you are controlled by the drug or the smoking, meaning you can't quit, if you can't quit for a month, it has you don't have it. Okay, and you don't want that. Okay, you want to make sure that you're always in charge of your life, not something outside of you. All right, so just a few more points here from Napoleon Hill on having that positive mental attitude and what benefits it gives you. So you can remember always that no one can hurt your feelings or make you angry or frighten you without your full cooperation and consent. Yeah, okay. He also talks about studying this. I'd highly recommend you guys study this lesson multiple times over and over. In fact, he says do it once a week for 6 months, okay? So that you can indoctrinate yourself with these mind conditioners so effectively that your mental attitude will become and remain positive at all times. Guys, it's important that you maintain that positive attitude at all times for it to really work. If you waffle, in the book of James, it says that the double-minded man, okay, is unstable in all his ways, okay? The double-minded man, meaning positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. No, that's a double-minded man, okay? You need to be single-minded, positive, single-minded. All right. So you can attune your mind to attract to you the things and circumstances you desire by expressing in a daily prayer your feeling of gratitude for having received the blessings listed in the sealed envelope marked rewards. This one right here. Okay? So you can pray, and I don't know who you pray to. I know who my God is. But whoever your God is, or if you don't have one, well, we all have a God. It's just who are you serving? But if you express gratitude, gratitude opens the door for more of the things you're grateful for. Okay. So if you don't have any gratitude, you can't open up the door for more blessings to come your way. Okay. All right. So, all right, here we go. It says you can form the habit of tolerance and toward all people of all races and creeds, and learn to like people just as they are. Okay. This is important for you to be able to find. I have friends that are left wing. I have friends that are, conservative like myself. I have friends that are, straight people, gay people. I have friends that are Christians. I have friends that are Muslims. I have friends that are of all kinds. And I can find an area to agree with just about anybody. You can find common ground. I know I worked in Malaysia back, 16, 17 years ago. And going there, I was raised in Texas, grew up here. And I remember when I was going to Malaysia to do business, I was thinking, I wonder what they're like. I was a little bit apprehensive. Like, it's a Muslim country. It's, I was like, man, what's it going to be like? It was right at the beginning. It was after 9/11. But it was kind of, there was the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I was like, man, I wonder what they're going to treat me like, or what it's going to be like. And here's what I found when I got there. Man, some of the nicest, most amazing people I ever met there. Okay. Family oriented. This Muslim family that I stayed with, Dr. Yunus Mahmood and his family. And these guys were like some of the kindest, nicest, family oriented folks that you could imagine. And yeah, we have different beliefs, and I don't believe, what they believe, in like the spiritual area. But we were able to have great friendship and great relationships and great times together, eating together and breaking bread and hanging out. And so you can have that with anybody. I've got another friend that she's like hardcore on the left. Okay. And while there's things we vehemently disagree about, okay, huge things that we disagree about, and very strongly. But man, we can have fun times. We can have a great time. We had dinner a few months ago, and we had a blast. Okay, we had a blast. My mom was there, and she was there, and we had just a good old time. Okay, because we were focused on things that we agree on. All right, and that's the deal. Just find those areas of agreement with people, and just appreciate people for who they are. Okay, now that doesn't mean you want to hang out with losers. Okay, because the people you hang around are going to affect your where you go in life. Okay, influence can be very powerful, and it can be subtle. So if you start hanging around with a bunch of losers, okay, then you're gonna their influence is gonna be powerful on you. Okay, so you want to make sure you're putting yourself in rooms with winners, with people that are going places, with people that are making things happen, and that are getting what you want out of life. Because it is said, and I believe it to be true, that the 5 people you spend the most time with are if you average their income, chances are you're going to have about the same income. Okay, so if you want to be hanging around people that have more than you, that have it better than you, that are making it happen. If you're just hanging out with your boys from high school that haven't gone anywhere or done anything, and your boys from high school may have done lots, but if they haven't and they're still just living for the weekend or whatever, you might want to get some new relationships. Okay. All right. So something else with a positive mental attitude. You can acquire the habit of welcoming friendly criticism instead of recoiling from it in a negative state of mind. Bro, how many people cannot take criticism, constructive criticism? They're such babies. Some people are such little babies that they can't accept any coaching because they got a big fat ego. Okay. And they can't accept anything because they're wearing their feelings on their sleeve. And if someone tries to coach them, if you take offense to somebody in your life who has some authority or has some results that you'd like, they try to coach you or help you get better, man, you got to accept that with open arms. You got to accept that. And a positive mental attitude will allow you to do that. If you have a negative state of mind, then you're going to recoil, you're going to get offended, you're going to get pissed off. And that's just not really going to take you anywhere good. All right. So here we go. All right, so let's talk about this. Oh, I got so much to share with you guys. I got like 2 hours of stuff here. I don't have that kind of time today. But, all right, here we go. So, this says if you have that positive mental attitude, you can refrain from engaging in negative conversations based upon gossip, small talk, or remarks derogatory of other people, and thereby keep your own mind clean and free for the expression of a positive mental attitude. Guys, don't gossip. Don't talk bad about people. Don't talk bad about them behind their back. Don't talk bad in front of them. If you do have something to say to them, though, that you disagree with, or you need to clear the air, man, say it to their face. Don't call up Joe to talk about John and say, oh man, can you believe what Joe or what John did? He did this and he did that, because it's just not a good thing to do. Okay, just don't do it, because it doesn't just affect you, and it affects that person you're talking about. It affects the person you're talking to it about. Okay, like I do not accept gossip my way. Okay, if you call me, you got something bad to say about whoever, then likely what I'm going to do is say, hey, listen, have you called John and talked to him about this? And if the answer is no, it's like, hey, listen, why don't we get John on the phone and why don't you share this with him? Boom. Set up the three-way call. Call, hey, John, listen, Joe was just calling me and he had a few things to say that he wanted. I thought we'd just get you on the phone and let him tell you personally. Okay? Boom. Make that happen. And I'll tell you what, people don't come to me with gossip. Okay? Because when you get your butt burnt like that, you don't want to come to that person and talk about it anymore. So if people are coming to you a lot with talking negatively about other people, chances are that you're a willing, obviously you're a willing participant in that. And you probably want to shut that down, because you don't want to be the person that everybody comes to with all their negative crap about other people. Okay. That's just unproductive. It hurts you. It hurts them. It hurts everybody. Okay. Nothing good coming from that. All right. So, okay, here's what he says also. Man, this is perfect for my cup that I'm drinking out of today. Napoleon Hill said, you should believe in the American way of life, in the American form of government under which you have been guaranteed more freedom and more privileges to act on your own desires than exist anywhere else on earth. Preach. Oh my gosh, let's preach. Okay, so America. Yes, sir. Okay, so here's the deal. That's facts. All right, so don't even get me started. Any of these anti-American creeps in the world that don't love this country. Man, this is the best country on the freaking planet. And do we have issues? Of course, any country, any people have issues. There's people. People have issues, okay? But my gosh, you guys, we're so fortunate to be a part of this great nation, all right? So, hey, what's up? What's up, Caleb? What's up, Jaya? What's up, Adam? Good to see you guys. Thanks for jumping on. Lee, Kermie, Jesse. Let's see here. What's Kermie? That's Courtney. Hey, what's up, Courtney? So, Kinsey. Listen, okay, America. That's all I got to say about that. All right, next thing here. So, all right, so let's shift gears here. So let's talk about the difference between wishing and believing, okay? So the difference between wishing and believing, this is a big deal. So a lot of people, majority of people, never discover the difference between wishing and believing, nor recognize that there are 6 steps which people usually follow in using their mind power for the attainment of their desires. Okay, so I'm going to go through the 6 steps with you, all right? So each step, progressively less people get to that step, okay? Progressively less, like anything in success, a much larger percentage of people make less than $50,000 a year than make $100,000 a year, okay? It's a smaller percentage that make $100,000. It's even a smaller percentage that make $250,000. It's even a smaller percentage that make $1 million or $5 million or $10 million, right? Okay. So first step, the vast majority of people go all the way through life by merely wishing for things. Okay, so vast majority, 70, maybe 80%. Okay, just wish for things. Man, I wish I was rich. I wish I was successful. I wish I had a good marriage. I wish my kids would behave. I wish, wish for everything, but never act. Okay? So that's the vast majority. So second, a much smaller percentage of the people develop their wishes into desires. Okay? So desires would be a much greater level of thing where it becomes a desire, something you can't stop thinking about. Okay? And if your desires are, so desires. Okay, I'm not going to go off on that tangent. All right, I got all kinds of tangents I could go on. I could do tangents all day long. Okay? All right. So third, a still smaller percentage of people develop their wishes and desires into hopes. And the way I would define hope is a positive expectation. Okay, so when you get that desire and it translates into hope, hope is now when you're expecting it. Okay, it's not just like the way people use hope. I'm just thinking the biblical meaning of hope would mean expectation, like positive expectation. Not like, oh man, I hope we make it. I hope we do better. I hope we get wealthy. I hope we stay healthy, whatever. Not like that, but more like a positive expectation, all right? So fourth, a still smaller percentage of the people step their mind power up to where it becomes belief. And belief is where you know you're going to get it. You know you're going to make it happen. You know, right here. You know it. It's going to happen, okay? All right, fifth, and yet a very much smaller percentage of the people crystallize wishes, desires, and hopes into belief and then into a burning desire. Okay, a burning desire, meaning you cannot quit thinking about what's coming. You cannot quit thinking about what you're going to accomplish and what you're going to do, okay? All right, so sixth, a very small percentage of the people take the last two steps, putting their faith into action by, number one, planning, and number two, acting and carrying out their plans. So, faith into action. Bible says faith without works is dead. Faith isn't faith unless it's in action. Okay, if you're not taking action on your faith, it's really just wishing. Okay, so you've got to take that faith and put it into action and take steps towards those goals. Okay, all right. So he says that 70% of the people wish for almost everything they can imagine, but stop right there. All right, so now we'll shift gears and we're going to talk about how to become part of the 2%er, become a 2%er that is successful, okay? Because it's very few that actually reach, quote unquote success, okay? So, my computer just went to sleep. All right, so recording's still going, thankfully. So, all right, so here we go. So how do you get in the top two? How do you get in the 2%? Well, here's some ways. Okay, learn the art of selling yourself to others by indirections rather than direct approach. Okay, adopt the habit of having a hearty laugh as a means of transmuting anger into a harmless emotion. Okay, so sometimes if you're in a high state of anger, that's not a great place to be. It can be it can make you feel powerful when you're angry, but it's also it's not where you make good decisions, okay? So you can laugh it off, and that'll help you kind of break the pattern. So express gratitude for all your adversities, failures, and defeats instead of complaining about them. That's good, okay? Concentrate your mind on the can-do portion of all tasks you undertake, and do not worry about the cannot-do portion. So focus on what you can do, not what you can't do, okay? Learn to transmute all unpleasant circumstances into action, which calls for a positive mental attitude. Recognize that no one can win 100% of the time, no matter how much he may deserve to win. Okay? Learn to look upon life as a continuous process of learning from experiences, both the good and the bad. Remember always, every thought you release comes back greatly multiplied to bless or curse you. Ooh, man. every thought that you release and every thought, especially that you let come out of your mouth, if you let it come out of your mouth, you are agreeing with it. Okay. One of our pastors back in Dallas, Pastor Larry Huck, he would always say that if you say it, you pray it. So if you say it, you pray it. So if you're saying something, you're praying it, meaning you're basically attracting that into your life. So make sure you're saying things that you want, okay? Be careful of your associates because the negative mental attitude of other people is very contagious. Ooh, man, that is so true, man. You start hanging out with negative people, pretty soon you're going to be down in the dirt with them, okay? Remember, you have a dual personality. One is positive and has great capacity for belief. The other is negative and has equally great capacity for disbelief, unbelief. And guys, it goes back to this. You got two envelopes. You got the one with rewards, okay? And you got the one with penalties, okay? Unbelief, penalties. Belief, faith, confidence is going to give you rewards. All right. So peace of mind is believed by many to be the highest and most sought-after blessing that life provides. Peace of mind is complete mastery over all forms of worry. It's freedom from want, mental and physical ailments, fear in all its forms. It's freedom from the common weakness of seeking something for nothing in life. It's the habit of doing one's own thinking on all subjects. It's the habit of frequent self-inspection from within. It's the habit of developing sufficient courage and inherent honesty with oneself to look at the facts of life as a realist. It's the habit of discouraging both greed and the desire to be great and powerful at the expense of others. It's okay to be great and powerful, but in service of others. You want to be in service of others in all of your pursuit for greatness. If you are looking to be great at the expense of others, not a good place to be. Not a good way to get peace of mind. It's the habit of helping others to help themselves. It's freedom. I can't read all these. There's too many. But it's freedom from all desire for revenge. It's the habit of going the extra mile in all human relationships. It's freedom from discouragement of every nature. It's the habit of thinking in terms of what one desires. The habit of starting where one stands to do what one has set his heart upon. It's the habit of starting where one stands. Okay, so starting where you are and going for what you want. Okay? It's the habit of conquering the petty misfortunes of daily occurrence instead of being mastered by them. It's the habit of looking for the seed of an equivalent benefit which comes in all adversities. It's the habit of taking life in its stride. It's the job of getting happiness from doing rather than seeking it from possessing. So it's appreciating the process. It's having fun in the process. It's the habit of giving before trying to get. Okay, so more on a positive mental attitude. Okay, and just a few more notes here before I wrap up. So this Napoleon says that action is one of the most important words of the English language. Knowledge is also an important word, but it is fruitless without action. And this is so true. You got to be an action taker. If you want bigger, better things, again, whether it be relational, financial, physically, whatever, you got to take action. Without taking action, action is the difference maker. Okay? Hard work beats talent every time, especially when talent doesn't work. Okay? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. So it's not just about being good at something. It's because you have your natural gifts that God's given you, but it's about what are you going to do with those gifts? Are you going to develop them? Are you going to get better? Are you going to do the work? Are you going to take action? Okay? All right. So a couple of closing thoughts here from Napoleon Hill, and then I'll just kind of put a bow on this and wrap it up. But so he says, I'm just going to read this to you because it's really powerful. Study any person who is known to be a success, and you will find that he has a definite major goal. He has a plan for the attainment of this goal. He devotes the major portion of his thoughts and his efforts to the attainment of his purpose, of this purpose. Everyone wishes for the better things of life. They intensify their wishes into a burning desire, and back that desire with continuous effort based on a sound plan, it is necessary that they induce other people to cooperate in carrying out their plan. No great achievement is possible without the aid of other minds. The first step from poverty to riches is the most difficult. It may simplify my statement if I tell you, and this is in all caps, that all riches and all material things that anyone acquires through self-effort begin in the form of a clear, concise mental picture of the thing one seeks. So having clear in your mind, first of all, what do you want? Okay, Jim Rohn's training on goal setting. Here's how it goes. Number one, decide what you want. What's up, JT? Number one thing is decide what you want. This is the hardest thing for people because people are so scared to make a mistake. I keep hitting my mic. I hope that's not like making a noise for you. So people are so afraid of making a mistake that golly, I talk to people all the time and are, getting our team going and recruiting people onto our team, and I ask them, what do you want? And the first thing they always say, well, I don't want to be broke. Well, I don't want to be poor. Well, I don't want to be stressed. Well, I don't want to be this. I'm like, no, what do you want? And people just have a hard time, in a lot of cases, really deciding what they want. Man, be like a kid. Have that childlike faith, belief, and confidence where you ask a little kid what they want. Hey, what do you want? Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fireman. I want to be the president. I want to have a jet. I want to be a YouTuber, whatever. Okay. Whatever the thing is, but kids, they can fire off what they want like that because they're not thinking, oh, I'm going to make a mistake. Okay. Unless they've had that beat out of them. All right. Unless they've had it, unless they've been in the public school system for too long, then they might be scared to make a mistake because unfortunately, guys, oh man, now am I going to go off on a public school tangent? And it's not just public school, it's private school too. Okay. That schooling, unfortunately, in its current state is designed to penalize making mistakes. But mistakes are a part of success. Without mistakes, you can't succeed. Without failure, you can't succeed. So we got to kind of condition that out of people as you're getting into real life, is that mistakes are okay. Mistakes are part of the deal. And also, what's another thing that they penalize in school? Cheating, like cheating on, like getting somebody else's paper or working with somebody else on a math problem. They know how to do it. You don't know how to do it. That's called cheating in a lot of cases, unless it's like approved or whatever. But collaboration with others is actually a big part of success. Okay. Collaborating with others, learning from others, and copying is okay in real life, and it actually is beneficial. So anyway, all right. So I'm just going to read this again. All riches and all material things that anyone acquires through self-effort begin in the form of a clear, concise mental picture of the thing one seeks. So here's how you do it. You decide, number one, what you want. Number two is you write it down. That's it. That's goal setting in a nutshell. Decide, write it down. If you do those two things, you're going to help get that mental picture as clear as possible. And then when you have that mental picture clear, then you can go to work on how you're going to achieve it. You can start making the plans. You can start doing the work. You can start taking the effort, taking the actions toward that goal. And if you don't know if you're going to do something big. You don't know how you're going to get from point A all the way to that big goal. But the thing is, there's something you can do that would take you closer to that goal. So if all right, I want to do whatever. Okay, say I want to learn how to develop real estate. Okay, and I want to do this real estate development. Well, I have no idea what to do with the real estate development, but what could I do? Who do I know that might be that works in real estate? No, I'm not talking about a realtor. I'm talking about somebody that's like a real estate investor. Who do I know that might invest in real estate? You could say you don't know anybody. Well, an action you could take could be that I'm going to make a list of anybody I know that might know somebody in that business, and I'm going to ask around. And that's like an action you could take towards that goal. And so if you take that action, if you start just taking action towards the goal, taking you closer, pretty soon new pathways will open, new ideas will open, and you'll be able to get there, okay? So, listen, appreciate you guys being on. Appreciate you taking this in. If you found value in this, I'd really appreciate if you could share it on your social media with people you know. Love it if you could share this. This, of course, is going on YouTube, but we will be on, if you're watching it anywhere else, like on Instagram or on Facebook, whenever we broadcast it. If you can follow our YouTube page at Larry Holsey, subscribe there. That'd be great. I would really appreciate it. And even more than that, I'd love it if you would share this with others. And that would help us kind of get the word out. Just want to really provide value here. Hopefully this has been valuable for you. It's valuable for me to teach it. Okay, so I'm getting a lot out of it, whether you are or not, because it's allowing me to kind of solidify these ideas and be reminded of these ideas in my mind, so that I can be a better version of myself. Okay, all right. So listen, have a great day.